Hello everyone. Today we're going to dive into a crucial topic in American politics, constitutional crisis. Let's explore what they are and look at some examples from U.S. history. So what exactly is a constitutional crisis? A constitutional crisis occurs when there's a problem or a conflict in how the government functions, and the Constitution or fundamental governing laws seem unable to resolve it. It's a situation where the normal rules and procedures break down, leaving the country in a state of uncertainty. Let's take a look at some key moments in American history that qualify as constitutional crises. First of all, we have the Nullification Crisis in 1832 to 1833. This crisis occurred when South Carolina declared that federal tariffs were null and void within its borders. President Andrew Jackson saw this as a direct challenge to federal authority. The situation escalated to the point where Jackson requested permission from Congress to use military force. Fortunately, a compromise was reached, averting a potential armed conflict. The next example we have is the Secession Crisis and Civil War from 1860 to 1861. Perhaps the most significant constitutional crisis in U.S. history was the secession of southern states following Abraham Lincoln's election. This crisis challenged the very foundation of the Union and ultimately led to the Civil War. It raised fundamental questions about states' rights and federal authority that the Constitution didn't clearly resolve. The next example we have is the Watergate Scandal from 1972 to 1974. While not a full-blown crisis, the Watergate Scandal pushed the limits of constitutional authority. President Richard Nixon's actions, including obstruction of justice, led to a potential showdown with the Supreme Court. Had Nixon refused to comply with the court's order to surrender the Watergate tapes, it would have precipitated a major constitutional crisis. The next example we have is the Korean War and General MacArthur from 1951. This situation demonstrated how military and civilian leadership conflicts could lead to a potential crisis. When President Truman fired General Douglas MacArthur for publicly criticizing his Korean War policies, it created tension between the executive branch and MacArthur's congressional supporters. The situation was diffused through congressional hearings, preventing a larger constitutional showdown. Constitutional crises are rare but significant events that test the limits of our governing framework. They often arise from conflicts between different branches of government or disputes over the interpretation of constitutional powers. Understanding these historical examples helps us appreciate the resilience of the American system and the importance of resolving conflicts within the constitutional framework. Remember, a strong democracy requires engaged citizens who understand these critical moments in our history. Thanks for tuning in today, and don't forget to like this video and come back for more educational content like this.